I am a coaster enthusiast, obviously. It is basically what I am in college for. I have around 100 credits at 99 right now. Need one more to get to 100. And those credits vary from 2 different countries across just about 20 parks. So I thought it would be a good time at the beginning of the year to rank my top 75 coasters. Just so y'all know, this is going to be a lot, so I'm going to try to keep each review section kinda quick so we can get through this quickly. So yeah, here we go. This thing looks so cool, yet it's so like ass due to what type of coaster it is. It is so rough anytime it takes a turn or movement for that matter. It's way better looking at it off-ride. The animatronics are also pretty cool, I guess. I don't know. My one ride on this had no sound and was pretty rough. I spent most of my time just bracing myself for every single maneuver. This is just a smooth Schwarzkopf coaster through the trees, and yeah, this opened in 1976, and you can kinda tell. This is a kiddie coaster in Islands of Adventure. That's about it. Nothing else to say. This is a kiddie coaster in Storybook Circus in Magic Kingdom, and it's looking not that bad. This is barely a coaster. This is a glorified screen ride. The queue is pretty fantastic though, although there may be too many pre-shows. That is barely an issue though. The only memorable coaster moment is that weak-ass launch. The land at Diagon Alley is just way cooler than this underwhelming ride. This is a weekend mountain coaster at a ski resort. It's new, I guess, and has some memorable elements. This is the best weekend coaster. This one is at Vail Adventure Ridge, and is the highest one up out of all the mountain coasters I've ridden. This one just has aura. That's the best way I can describe it. Sure, it may not be that well themed, but I don't give a fuck. This one opened in 2016 and is 1,936 feet long. This ride is low-key not talked about enough. It feels pretty long for only having 2,800 feet of track with some intense moments. Ninja may go down a mountain, but this is in the heart of Cedar Point. Sure, it could use a repaint and the queue may be painfully boring, but this has character. I love how it took Top Throw Dragster's colors. This aero invert opened in 1987, and yeah, this coaster is so popular, yet does so little. The cars are cool, I guess. And this is a Morgan coaster opened in 1996 and doesn't do anything. This is a kiddie coaster at Universal Studios Hollywood in Hogsmeade. This was the longest line I waited in at Universal Studios Hollywood, and it was not worth it. This coaster isn't even 1,000 feet. The animatronic at the beginning of the Hippogriff is kinda cool, I guess. This opened in 2016, and it was actually manufactured by Mock Rides. I did not know that. This is the same model as Pegasus at Europa Park. I honestly thought before this video that this was a Zamperla or Zier. One of the tallest coasters in the world is closed, and I was lucky enough to get a ride on it. Was it good? Not really. This is a glorified mid-drop tower with a cool queue. This thing is 415 feet with a drop tower attached to it. And now it's just standing but not operating in the middle of Magic Mountain. Yes, I'm counting both sides as different credits. These coasters are old as fuck though, and you can tell. The refurb from a decade ago helps, but still, only so much you can do with this layout. Both sides are 80 feet tall, but this side is 2,037 feet, has a duration of 2 minutes and 7 seconds. The previously mentioned refurb did a lot with the theming, most notably with the Yeti animatronic. This side inches the other out, just barely because of it being a little bit longer at 2,134 feet, and it has a duration of 2 minutes and 26 seconds. But like I was previously saying, this refurb was pretty good, and I love the new Easter eggs found all throughout the ride layout. This is a B&M floorless coaster that was formerly known as Vortex. Vortex was a 1991 stand-up coaster that got refurbed in 2016. Into this coaster is small with a height of only 91 feet and only a top speed of 45 miles per hour. Due to its height, it's also pretty short at 1,920 feet, and it only has a ride duration of 2 minutes and 14 seconds. This is a Gerstlauer Eurofighter at Glenwood Caverns. The fact they're able to build this coaster is kind of crazy. I know it's not a long ride at 1,083 feet, but with the space they had, they couldn't do a lot more. This thing could have been great, but it feels forgotten in this park. A lot of rides at SeaWorld have the problem of feeling like they've been forgotten by management. This coaster had one hell of a history, from once being the best coaster in Florida to having VR at one point to now not being really that good. When I rode this, I got a Zen ride, and it felt like a tad bit slow. Also, one last thing I'd like to point out is that this thing isn't even themed to a Kraken anymore. It's like an eel/squid hybrid. This coaster is just a mess. God, I do not get the hype with this thing. Like, maybe I just don't like stand-up coasters that much, because I've ridden a fair share, and this is the only one in my top 75, I think. The artificial airtime just doesn't do it for me. This coaster doesn't feel that fast yet. It's somehow 60 miles per hour. How? I mean, I know how. It has an LSM launch, but still. This is one of the longest coasters in the world, at 6,072 feet. This is an intimate launch coaster, meant to look like a wooden coaster. This gimmick was cool when it was California Screaming, but as Incredicoaster, it pisses me off. This coaster doesn't make sense for a magnitude of reasons. This was my first ever wooden coaster, and I loved it. It's gone down in my rankings over the years, but I still think it's pretty good. The layout is almost perfect. Thank you, GCI. Why are RMCI boxes so overrated? This is a dueling coaster that never duels and doesn't have a wow moment at all. This is one of the most hated coasters, which, like, I get. You should never wait over an hour for this thing. I haven't ridden this in a while, so I may be looking at this with rose-tinted glasses, but I remember really liking this. If you don't know, this is a Mauer spinning coaster. You may know other Mauer spinners, like Now You See Me High Roller at Motion Gate and Spinball Wizard at Alton Towers. This coaster is weird, but it could be so much better. This used to be themed to a trip to the moon, and it seemed to be amazing. Now it's like Frankenstein, where half of it is a trip to the moon and the other half is Star Wars. This just makes it a very confusing experience. Anyway, unlike most Space Mountains, this is a Vekoma launch looping coaster, so yeah. This is an old-ass aero looper with inversions. You get what you expect. This is a Giovannola Hyper, and a pretty tall one at that, with a drop of 255 feet. God, it's so intense. Revenge of the Mummy Anywhere is such a cool ride. Every version, I never know what to expect. This is a Premier Rides launch coaster opening in 2004. I don't know why this is so close to Jurassic Park, but I guess there's like no space whatsoever. I'm surprised this coaster is only 1,906 feet long. I think it may go over some of the same track when it's going backwards, but I don't know. Feels longer than it actually is. The duration is somehow only 2 minutes long. The launches are surprisingly punchy for a coaster that somehow only goes 40 miles per hour. One last thing is that the ending is so abrupt. You're turning, expecting something else to happen, and then you're back in the station. Most B&M inverts I've ridden aren't that tall, yet this one is 137 feet. For most coasters, added height would be a great thing, but for inverts, I feel the shorter heights let them have snappier layouts. At 57 miles per hour, this just kind of soars through its layout until the pretty good finale. This thing is kinda in a mess though. The queue is terrible, the colors are ugly at best. At least the ride isn't short. It has 3,790 feet of track and a ride duration at 2 minutes 16 seconds. There's nothing too memorable about it. This is a dueling coaster at Magic Mountain, which actually duels. Wow. This is a Premier Rides launch coaster themed to Fast and Furious, basically. But not really. This is the Blue Side of Dragon Challenge. Yes, I know. I got both credits before it closed. Thank you. This is one side of the former B&M dueling coaster. These coasters were really good, but probably better when they were called Dueling Dragons and in Merlinwood. These coasters never really seemed to fit in the Hogsmeade. It was something they just kind of had to work around. Anyway, both sides are very similar. This side's drop is 20 feet less for some reason. This side just barely inches out the other side. Both sides have the same length, but this side is 5 miles per hour faster. Both sides have 5 inversions, with this one having 2 Immelmans, a loop, and 2 corkscrews. The other one has a 0G roll, cobra roll, loop, and corkscrew. Both these sides are neck and neck, so just whichever one you prefer. This is an RMC Raptor at California's Great America, opening in 2018. This coaster is 52 miles per hour and 106 feet tall. This all sounds great until you see the length at 1,800 feet. Yeah, this coaster is pretty short, sadly. Even though this park is probably going to close, this coaster will most likely live on somewhere else. This is the better RMC Raptor. It's longer, taller, and faster. Every element hits hard. This one opened in 2022, making it the best RMC Raptor in the state of California. This thing is so intense, with the only thing dragging it down being the roughness. This coaster is notorious for how crazy it is and how many problems it had opening. This coaster was so expensive, yet I think it was so worth it. This Aero 40 opened in 2002 and was way ahead of its time. This was actually Aero's last coaster, and it bankrupted the coaster manufacturer. So it's pretty cool in that regard, I guess. I will forever push my agenda that RMC iBoxes are overrated. This layout is still pretty great though. Do I really count this as a coaster? Yes, this has a double down with coaster track. The double down is really great too. Yeah. If you can't tell by now, theming goes a long way for me. This and any other park would be a very underwhelming coaster. The swaying gimmick does not change anything for me, but yeah. I fuck with Seven Dwarfs. This is probably the least thrilling Big Thunder Mountain. This is jammed in the middle of Frontierland, and I don't really have a lot to say about it. This Space Mountain is probably the least memorable, and it shows in the fact I can't think of anything to say about it. What the fuck even is this? I only got one ride on this at night, and it was okay, I guess. This thing feels like it's meant to be rode at night. If I rode this during the day, I may have a different opinion about it, but this was okay. This thing feels like it had a lot of budget cuts, especially with the mannequins, I guess you want to call them. There aren't any actual animatronics, but there are a lot of figurines. This thing's pacing also feels off since it's a swing launch and it feels like it just never gets going. This is one of the most overhated coasters in the world. My two rides on this were very different. The first one was kind of bad, but my second one at night, God, it was insane. Night rides on this are fire, but I can't lie. Look at the trains, they're ugly as shit. I don't even know who manufactured it. The design is based off the Coney Island Wildcat. Ha, I bet you thought I was going to say Cyclone. A lot of people thought this was going to be the next coaster taken out of California's Great America before it was announced the park was going to close entirely. Also, why is this called Grizzly? What does it have to do with the bear? I think it's so funny when I turn out the station and look up the lift hill and see how crooked the track is. But God, that drop yanks you down, giving great airtime. The pothole at the bottom is kind of rough, but don't worry because you'll be able to catch your breath on that turnaround where you get pretty scenic views. Wow, look at that. It's Levi Stadium. This was my number one coaster like 5 years ago, and it just keeps going down. RIP to this great thing. Need to get final rides on it soon. This ride is cloned in many places, mainly Six Flags parks. This is so intense, but I low-key fuck with the theming. This thing just rips through its layout. With only 105 feet, 50 miles per hour, and 2,700 feet of length, it uses its layout amazingly. This Batman opened in 1994, and it's the best Batman invert. This is somehow the only wooden coaster at Magic Mountain, and it's surprisingly really great. I love it. This is a premier ride, Skyrocket 3, that is short as fuck, with a few great elements. Yeah, this is my least favorite flying coaster, and it's still pretty good. I only got night rides on this. I kind of wish I rode this in the day, so I could have had the nice views. Due to me riding this at night and not being familiar with the layout, I was so disoriented while riding. This thing is surprisingly fast though at 56 miles per hour. Pretzel loops are always a standout on flying coasters. I just wish I could appreciated its height at 140 feet. Flying coasters always have so much potential, yet their restraints are always so uncomfortable. This one opened in 2006 with a height of 170 feet and a top speed of 62 miles per hour. Damn. So this is the first modern Vekoma tilt coaster, and it is great. That drop is one of the coolest coaster moments I've ever had. The soundtrack is the best on any coaster I've been on. Also, as a Disney adult, I low-key really fuck with the theming on this. Just wish a ride this cool wasn't placed in such a weird place in the park. Also, was that tunnel worth it? No. No, not really. I barely remember it. Anyway, Harley Quinn / Siren's Curse is really great. I love me some intense B&Ms. This launch is so punchy and every inversion hits. But God, the entrance to the Cobra Roll is so rough, which sucks since the retrack wasn't that long ago. This coaster really tried to evade me. Yeah, I got on it, and it was pretty good. I don't know. I just don't get intimate lap bars. This coaster also is already starting to feel rough. But anyway, that top hat is amazing. The Mosasaurus roll makes me cry every time. On my most recent trip, I finally noticed how many hand choppers there are in the beginning. I don't know how I didn't notice this before until now. The launches are all As always, yeah, this is Velocicoaster. It's borderline great. It has an amazing length at 4,700 feet. It uses every foot of that track wonderfully. If you can't tell, this is where I'm putting the Universal launch coasters. God, I got so many night rides on this thing, and it was really amazing. The queue is just so bare bones, though. Unlike most Universal coasters, this one was actually manufactured by Mach Rides. This Tiana's is so much better. The drops may be the same, but something about it in Disney World just makes me like it a lot more. The one in California feels more janky. These logs also have lap bars, unlike the one in California that just doesn't have anything. Anyway, one big downside to these rides is the plot. The plot is just so confusing. It doesn't really make sense. But yeah, Rip Splash Mountain. Splash Mountain used to be my favorite ride, and this is definitely a downgrade. This ride is under refurb and will hopefully get even better. This is a full step up from the one in Disneyland, and the queue is amazing. This is an exact copy of Matterhorn, yet it is so much better. It being in the dark with space theming is great. The Matterhorn layout in the dark is just amazing. Yeah, this is another credit. This is a superior side, and a side I have more rides on. RIP to this thing. Always overhated. I can't believe I used to be scared to ride it. It was probably because of that vertical lift. I wonder how many people have thought that it was the drop. Probably only had the vertical lift due to the model. The Mauer X car usually either has a launch or a vertical lift. This coaster is most well known for its many block zones. When I rode it, I never minded the block zones, as the airtime off of them was usually great. Anyway, when I rode it in 2023, it reeked of 2009 with the music and screens in the queue. I remember I usually only did Kanye or Black Eyed Peas, which both haven't aged well for various reasons. Also, fun fact, doing research about this ride, I found that it was prominently featured in Sharknado 3 in the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt Season 2, Episode 3. So take with that what you will. This is another old era multi-looper, which is a lot better due to its height and speed. This one is a tiny bit better than the one in California, without the buzzkill of an ending and the longer ride time at 2 minutes 57 seconds. It is kind of confusing of how this fits into New York, but whatever, it's not a major issue. It's actually opened just over a month before the California one. They both opened in the summer of 2004. Why do I fuck with this so heavy? This ride is so overhated. I finally wrote this after it had been closed every time I had been to Islands, and it was pretty good. It broke down a lot, but at least I got onto it. The queue is really good. I fuck with the Forbidden Forest. The ride has so many cool animatronics, besides the one that stands out for how bad it is. The ride truly does feel like you're on a bike, and I'm able to say this as I rode this in the front row on a bike seat. Okay, so I know this is high, but in reality, I've never ridden Avengers Assemble Flight Force. I know. I rode this as Rock and Roller Coaster, and I love Rock and Roller Coaster. This was different due to the fact that instead of the plot being you trying to get to a show on time, now you are a part of an Aerosmith music video. This is a better version of Space Mountain, just to paraphrase what everyone says. Unlike most people, I don't hate the length, and I think it's perfectly fine at 3,170 feet. The bike seating makes the top speed of 59 miles per hour feel so much faster. Why is this ride so hated? It's a really great dive coaster with amazing airtime and a great color scheme. This B&M invert at California's Great America opened in 1993. This is an unk-ass coaster. This is renowned for its intensity, and god, that final helix makes me lose feeling in my legs. This is one great winged coaster guarding the gates of Cedar Point. This replaced Disaster Transport in 2013. God, this drop is crazy. This is my only B&M winged coaster, so maybe all of them are this crazy, but for now, this one stands alone. This is the most expensive coaster in the world, and it shows. I just wish there were less screens, maybe like one animatronic at the end. I don't know. This coaster is almost flawless. This is the best Wild Mouse I've ever been on. I may be looking at this with too much nostalgia, but whatever. Dinoland USA was really great in my opinion, and I hate that it's closing. These were the coasters at the fairground part of the land, and these definitely felt like something at a fairground. I think it's funny how this is the same plot as Dinosaur 2. This is the other side of the coaster. Yes, these are two different credits. This is the one I've rode more. The Spinning Wild Mouse was manufactured by Reverchon. This was my first ride at Epic Universe, and I loved it. The profiling on the track really makes you feel like you're gliding, and goddamn, the soundtrack is great. This is Intamin's best launch coaster at Universal Studios. I know, hot take. I also think it's funny how there's an LSM and LIM launch on this coaster. The show element at the beginning is cool when it works, which it doesn't most of the time. God damn, this is really great. I got 20 back-to-back night rides on this thing, with the worker giving me the most amount of room from my restraints. On the airtime hills, I was being held in the vehicle by my kneecaps. The ending to this ride is also overhated, with helixes kind of pulling some G's. This coaster feels so fast at 73 miles per hour. This is a coaster that killed the Coaster Wars in 2007, so it has to be great. And it is. The launches are good, but god, this thing is a perfect mix of intensity and airtime. The coaster only has a top height of 105 feet, yet it has an amazing drop. I just wonder if they are actually going to add the Heartline roll after all. That would be the cherry on top to this amazing ride. Plus, getting some new restraints. Like, why do so many coasters have these comfort collar things? They always suck. This coaster is great, with the best queue I've ever had the pleasure of walking through. The backwards section of this coaster is almost perfect and so intense. The sound design of this coaster is something I don't see a lot of people talking about, yet doesn't go unnoticed by me. This Thunder Mountain in Paris is on crack. It was the best Thunder Mountain at literally everything. I mean, come on, it's on an island. Frontierland is so perfect here in Paris, and this is the cherry on top to a perfect land. You know this is going to be heat when you start off by going under the rivers of America. This coaster has surprising airtime and intensity. This coaster still holds up. This is another insane drop at 310 feet in the park that is called Cedar Point. This coaster does not feel that long, yet it's an astonishing 6,595 feet long. The speed this thing has at 93 miles per hour is great, and this thing is paced wonderfully throughout its layout. And that's it. Hope you guys enjoy. Please subscribe, comment, like. I do read comments and I will take any suggestion that is in the comments. So, yeah, more content soon. I'm trying to get a lot of the most videos out I can. And yeah, see you later.